Hey guys, good morning. Welcome to another episode of Clangin and Bangin with Mikey, episode 40. And today we're going to talk about, well, one of the topics we're going to talk about is insecurities. If you look up the definition of insecure in the dictionary, it means having self doubt, uh, no self confidence, and just fearful in general. And that could be anything, man. It could be relationships, moving to a new city, new location, new job, um, hell, breaking up with your ex girlfriend or boyfriend, or getting a divorce from your husband, you know what I mean? Or your wife or whatever. And yeah, man, insecurities, dog. It's like damn motherfucker. Like I ain't gonna lie. And the thing about it too is insecurities, man, they pop up in so many different ways, bro. They could pop up in dudes buying sneakers, or dudes bragging about how much money they got, this and that, or um, yeah, man, facts. Like I know dudes who be like, "Oh man, well that's too expensive, this and that," but yet they go off and spend $400 on a pair of sneaks. Or I know dudes that want, that say like, "Oh well, it's too expensive to move out my mom's house," but they make $80,000 a year. Or I know women who say like, I don't want to date this guy, or I'm fearful of dating this guy because of what happened last time. But what they fail to realize is that that guy that they're talking to, or the guy that they're interested in, or the guy that's interested in them, is in their past failed relationships. It's like insecurities, dog. It's a motherfucker mentally because you always think what happened before is gonna happen again, and like you always kind of have that guard up, and it's like it really messes with your head because now you thinking like, damn, okay, like what do I do to overcome this, or how do I get out of my own way to get what I want? And insecurities, dog, is like it's needed but not always wanted. What I mean by that is it's okay to be insecure and need to take a step back and and like reevaluate what you have going on with any individual or any situation. When I say it's not needed, is it's like you you shouldn't be replaying old situations in your head that have nothing to do with the other individual or nothing to do with previous situations. It's like take me for an instance. If I if and when I do move back to the mainland, I can't think about what happened in 2018. Like when I moved to Cali by myself. Hopped off the plane, bought a whip by myself. Look for apartments all by myself. Registered for classes. To get my master's degree. All by myself. And like I can't think about that because it's like 2018. I was what 20, 28, 29, 30 years old. It's like now me being older. Um, yeah, man. It's definitely a mind fuck, and like there's always people out there that's going to try to talk you out of doing doing what you got to do to to create better opportunities, not for yourself, but hey, if you have kids or whatnot too, it's like growing up in Hawaii, we all know we all know that that the struggle is real. It's like we all know that you got to make a lot of money just to break even in this bitch. um, And I think it's very important, man, to recognize what triggers those insecurities, and you deal with them accordingly. Um, what I said earlier, I was saying insecurities. Also, too, man, insecurities, bro. It's like they can ruin a lot of healthy relationships, a lot of healthy friendships, a lot of unresolved issues and traumas will pop up in certain situations, and you're like, yo, how do I, you know, how do I mitigate this without hurting this other person's feelings? How do I mitigate this without, you know, realizing that I'm not, fully healed yet or whatever it is, or just things of that nature. It's like a lot of people will jump from relationship to relationship just because they fearful of being alone. It's like I know girls who I grew up with, I swear to God, like every 3 months they had like a new boyfriend, a new love, and I'm like, bro, what the fuck you building? A solar system in this bitch? And it's like, you know, this is your fourth boyfriend in like 8 months, you know? Also, too, dog, is like when you insecure, that means you lacking stability. From my personal experience, it's like, I've seen people, I've had people come to me, like they be saying all this shit about, what the exes are doing, or not even the exes, or what the significant others are doing, this and that, and how, they wish things to go back to be the same. And it's like, I'm like, no, but you can't. It's like wishing for it to go back to the same. It's, that's a fantasy. That's not reality. It's like the old saying goes, man. It's like once the cat's out the bag, bro, you can't put that thing back in, and it's true. That goes with anything. That goes with platonic friendships that turn, that one person catches feelings, the other person's like, I don't know about this, and so you kind of stuck in, in a weird spot because you're like, yo, okay, like you're more than friends, but you're less than lovers. But at the same time, like I said, pull the cat out the box or cat out the bag. You can't put that back in. You can't. And I think there's a lot of people out there who don't know what they want. And I think, not that I don't necessarily believe that, because I do to an extent. I think a lot of people, men and women, can't get out of their own way. They don't want to get out of their own way because they're comfortable. They've grown comfortable in I guess not dealing with this shit. I guess not dealing with whatever they have going on. Like they can deflect, they can deny, or whatever it is. It's like they can do whatever they want to do and say, okay, well, I don't have to answer anybody. But at the end of the day, that's a that's not a true statement. End of the day, you have to answer to yourself. You have to answer to your own, you know, to the guy, to the person staring back at you in the mirror. You have to answer to that person. And being alone with your thoughts, man, it's scary. You know, it's legitimately scary because a lot of us don't know how to deal with our thoughts, our emotions, or anything like that. It's like growing up, men in general, but specifically black men. I was having this conversation, with one of my partners, one of my dudes who's been solid with me from day one, and because he has young kids and whatnot too, and he was telling me something like, "Hey, bro, it's like I fucked up a lot in my life. I can't fuck up being a dad, bro, because at the end of the day, it's like there's so many broken young black men walking around out here. So many men out here broken." Because we come from instabilities, unstable families, we have traumas, we have insecurities, we have all this shit that happened to us and we don't know how to deal with it. Or we're told to just to suck it up and just keep it pushing. Um Perfect example that I just thought about. Devon Best, wide receiver, former great wide receiver, helped put Hawaii on the map. You know, played with the Rice Growling, um, Colt Brennan, RIP. And for years, I remember when he got drafted by the Dolphins, and he had gone through a breakdown, right? And I'm like, bro, like all this money that you got, dog, like the fuck are you doing, bro? And then years later, come to find out, like when he was about 9 or 10, he seen his uncle get murdered right in front of him. And growing up in Oakland, I don't know if anybody who's ever been, like who's lived in the Bay or like who know people who live in the Bay, but it's like certain parts of the Bay, man, it's rough, extremely rough, and especially Oakland, man. Oakland is a different beast, dog. It's like Oakland you got some of the nicest people there, bro. But it's like you got a lot of people out there who just looking for a come up, and to see that type of trauma at that young of an age and like not knowing how to deal with that, bro, it's like it's traumatizing, you know. And when I read that article about him, I'm like, yeah, all that makes sense. All that shit that you was doing was making sense. It was like that was a cry for help, you know. That was a cry for help because you was out there still trying to deal with something that happened. He was in his 20s, I think. Yeah, like his mid to late 20s. It's like, bro, you like you still out there dealing with something that happened 20 years ago. So PTSD, it's real, man. It's emotions are real, you know. It's like take for instance, I was reading another article and it talked about sight and smells and whatnot too, and how your brain will automatically transport you back mentally to a certain time frame where, you know, whether it's a good or bad memory, it will take you back there. Your brain will connect the dots, with certain smells and whatnot, or certain sounds, and it's true, you know. Uh, but getting back to my partner, and when he said that, he's like, bro, I can't fuck up being a dad, bro. It's like I can't. It's like us as black men, you know, we have so much shit already put against us. It's like a lot of cats were told like, yo, you know, if you can't hoop, you can't ball, you can't rap, whatever, like you can't be none. And from my personal experience, I was told when I was in college, I don't know what you're going to college for, man. You just be wasting your time. I don't know, why you want to go to college, like you ain't never gonna be nothing more or less. And you think going to college makes you smart or something, right? And these are from motherfuckers that I knew. These are the motherfuckers that was supposed to show me love, right? And I'm gonna let y'all, kind of simmer on that because I'm not gonna go into detail about that because that's a whole different topic, dog. And I don't have enough, room on my phone to deal with all that. But yeah, man, dog, it's like insecurities, man. Like they play a role, or it's like just trying to date women in general, man. It's like I've had so many girls tell me like, oh well, like you a nice dude, but I can't date you because you walk funny, or I can't date you because you got a brother in a wheelchair, or whatever it is, right? So insecurities, dog, is like everybody's insecure, and so I don't want to hear this like, oh well, I'm not insecure, this and this and that. Like, bro, if you're not insecure, which brings me to another point. I follow a couple financial pages, right? And the page talked about how Warren Buffett still lives in the same house that he bought in 1951, I believe. And it was somebody else who's also a billionaire did the same thing. And then because it's 3 bullet points, and the last bullet point said like, oh, but tell me how you deserve a $50,000 car on a $45,000 salary. People love to keep it with the Joneses, dog. It's like, I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, like, I love sneakers. I love music, and everything like that too. But I'm not gonna go out there and spend a shit ton of money to impress motherfuckers I don't even like. But getting back to thoughts and everything, man, or insecurities, or having people tell you that that you ain't gonna be nothing, just simply because it's like I think a lot of that stems from the fact that us as black men in general, we don't know how to deal with our emotions because we're never taught to. And like we know, like we think that going to therapy is weak, you know, or we think that talking about your emotions is weak. Um, uh, yeah, my girl probably gonna kill me for this, but I'm gonna say it anyway. Um, Me and her, whenever we have phone conversations on the phone, we talking for like 2 3 hours, at least like once a week, you know. Yeah. But yeah, man, is I think with her, dog, is like you gotta find somebody who's willing to not only see the goofy side of you, but also see the serious side of you too, and realize like, yo, like he may not personally need my help, but he does need an ear to lend on, man. You know, and I think that's the most important thing that a human being can find, bro. Is finding somebody who understands you as the individual. You know, not Mikey the rap artist, not Mikey the producer, not Mikey the the everyday dude, but the real version of me that a lot of people don't get to see, because honestly, dog, I don't trust a lot of people, man. It's like, but I think like I said, like that stems from our upbringing, because you talk to a lot of black men in general, and we all gonna say the same shit. Like granted, yeah, everybody's situation is different, but I think for the most part, man, is that as long as you're dealing with somebody who knows you and knows what you're about and can understand, or not really understand, but have empathy towards you because of that, you know, it makes a world of a difference, because now you're like, yo, okay, like he or she may not totally grasp what I've been through, but yo, they here, they ain't going nowhere. And insecurities, dog, and trust issues and all that shit, bro. And it's like we have to work on being better. We have to work on just understanding each other and mostly understanding ourselves. We have to work on that, because we can't be good for other people if we're not good to ourselves first. We can't be 100 with other people if you ain't 100 with yourself first. Like, you can't be there for other people if you ain't there for you first. Mental health is real, man. I love y'all. See y'all next week. Those.